He was fully on board. He fully wanted to get hit by Amitabh Bachchan, sir. It was awesome. Prabhas has a very interesting sense of humor and body language, which we don't have to see him as like a macho man all the time. Bhairava was always written to be a bit goofy and funny. Definitely, Prabhas added a few things to it, which made it more real. Yeah. But I remember telling Deepika, like, I think this is going to be one of those, iconic moments that people will keep as wallpapers. It's not 60%, I'd say. I'd say we shot about 25 to 30 days, maybe. Yeah. I think Rajamouli sir wants to. I think he should. I think you need that passion and that love for it because it's such a complicated story. Yeah, there'll be some new characters also introduced. New world also, yeah.
Wow. So fourth world now.
Yeah, fourth world. The fourth world.
Hi guys, this is Himesh and welcome to Pinkvilla. Today we have with us Nag Ashwin, who just had a massive release in the form of Kalki. Welcome to Pinkvilla, Nag. It's lovely having you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
And congratulations. You have been working on this film for so long. How does it feel seeing the appreciation, the number, everything? Because I'll tell you honestly, when I was watching the film and when the film got over, for some reason I feel relaxed that okay, his hard work has paid off. How do you feel now?
I think, yeah, for us, the whole team included, it's definitely something very satisfying. It's like a relief that, people have accepted it because we've gone out and tried something very new and we can't afford to fail, basically.
Right. But the thing that worked the most for me, and this is something which I wrote in my review as well, is that I missed to see the larger-than-life presentation of Mr. Bachchan on the screen.
Yeah.
I watched the 7 a.m. show with my father and both of us were cheering for Mr. Bachchan over there.
Yeah.
How did that idea come to your mind to present Mr. Bachchan in this way?
I mean, we all remember Mr. Bachchan as the quintessential action hero, for sure. But I think it was also the fact that he was the first choice for Ashwadama.
Yeah.
And Ashwadama was the warrior. He was the son of the most powerful weapons teacher in the Mahabharata. So he had to be a intense and a fierce warrior. So it just came together.
Correct. But how did he react? Do you remember the first meeting? How did he react when you told him this world and this character?
I had some concept arts with me because I knew like so much of Ashwadama's character is not dialogue as compared to what you'd expect from Mr. Bachchan and the great voice that he has. It's not dialogue, it's either action or it's the waiting, it's the emotion. And so he was curious to begin with. He really went through the concept arts. He was very fascinated about how we're going to pull off this 8 feet difference character and all of that. So we had a few meetings to and fro, and finally I think he just decided to trust me.
And it's difficult for you to pick this, but for me there are multiple favorite scenes in the film. But as a director, which is your favorite scene?
My favorite scene, I think, definitely the way it came together in edit. I would say the climax portion is definitely a favorite. Like how the edit and the music came together, the VFX. The interval was also fun. The interval also came together really well. I always loved that sequence of Deepika's as she walked out of that tunnel. I remember, and we shot that like so fast. But I remember telling Deepika, like, I think this is going to be one of those, iconic moments that people will keep as wallpapers. Like we're just rushing through this, but this will be something special.
Right. And I think that has, and in fact, people are drawing, so many references of this sequence and the Padmawat sequence, which both are iconic in their own sense.
We realized that later that there was also a fire thing. There's a connect from before, but we didn't realize that at that point. But
And now, over the last few years, especially in the post-Bahubali era, Prabhas has played the larger-than-life heroic character. And over here, you have gotten a sense of naughty side to him. There's so much comedy and goofy. Was that a conscious effort on your side to present Prabhas in this way? What was the thought behind that?
It was. I mean, I genuinely think Prabhas has a very interesting sense of humor and body language, which we don't have to see him as like a macho man all the time, like always like bending iron rods or hitting people or like blood and gore. Like I just thought he can be a warrior, he can be a great fighter and still be real. I really enjoy Prabhas being real. Maybe in one movie of his in the past, it was sort of like that. That was always my reference point. And then once I met him and spent more time with him, I realized this is what I'd like to see him like. And Bhairava was always like that.
Right. But is Bhairava a mixture of Prabhas in real life and the character you thought, or what's it?
Bhairava was always written to be a bit goofy and funny. Definitely Prabhas added a few things to it which made it more real. Yeah.
And there are so many cameos in the film. How did you plan them? Did that come seamlessly in the writing, or was it a planned?
The characters were all there at some point or the other, and the ideas for who would play those characters came a little later on, I think, during production, based on like who we all felt was right
for the part. Correct. And I'm sure two characters which will carry forward in the universe are the ones played by Vijay Deverakonda and Dulquer. Could you tell us something on their part? What plans you have with them in this universe?
I mean, it's pretty. They're pretty much limited to what role they have. Obviously, it is possible to expand it into something else, especially for Dulquer. But as of now, it's what it is. Yeah.
But have you read all the conspiracy theories going around these characters?
Yeah, there are quite a few. I've read a few of them, I think.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But it's not my idea, but yeah.
But as a director, are you tempted to, read them and then include somewhere in the...
If it makes sense, if there's a better idea or if there's a seed of a thought somewhere, definitely. All writers are greedy, like we take whatever we get.
Yes. And Nag, I'm sure you have read all the conversations around Kalki. As a director, what was your vision for the first half? Because, when the second half, there is a unanimous appreciation about the action set pieces, and in the first half, people are speaking about the pace.
Yeah.
So, as a director, what was your vision as like the director's vision for the first half?
It was about setting up the world for sure and setting up these characters. There was definitely a fear about would people empathize or connect with this world enough in the time period that we have, and we have 4 very important characters and 4 very big stars. So story wise, market wise, you always want to balance that properly.
Yeah.
So we were always in this sort of a thing that you have 70 minutes or 60 minutes and you have 4 big stars and the world and multiple worlds also that you want to try to establish. So it was always like, how do we balance it? So we went in maybe a bit of a safe way and tried to let it sink in to people.
Yeah.
So there's no confusion whether it's the labs or whatever. People feel a few places are slow, but I think that was a choice that we made. But yeah, that's what it was.
Right. And you talk about the 3 worlds that you have created.
Yeah.
It's only in the first half, a very short portion where you get to see what complex actually is.
Yeah.
Is that something which you will be looking to expand in the
second part for sure? Yeah.
Yes. And of the 3 worlds, which is the one which has fascinated you the most, the complex or the entire setup outside of it?
I think both Kashi and Shambhala were a lot of fun to build.
Yeah.
Kashi because it's so familiar and has such an emotional connect to us, and Shambhala because it's again like such an important part of our lore, and now trying to build that city which looks different from the typical Shambhala in the Himalayas magical kingdom, but it's more like a refugee camp where all the last people of the world are going to be huddled together as a last hope. So just reimagining Shambhala was fun. I think we had a lot of fun with Shambhala.
But how do you get those visuals?
A lot of concept artists, references. Yeah, it took a lot of time. I mean, we had some time for this film, so we had a bunch of really good concept artists, like Immortal Collective was one. We had an in-house storyboard artist who was with us all the time. So it helped. It helped a lot. Yeah.
And it takes a lot of guts for a superstar of Prabhas's caliber to take a backseat in certain sequences and let others shine.
Yeah.
What were the sorts of discussion that you had with Prabhas? Because there are so many scenes where Deepika is at the forefront. There are so many scenes where Amitji is at the forefront. So what were the discussions like with him?
I don't think we had those kind of discussions. I think it, as a star of his stature, I think Prabhas has very little, issues about things like this, about he's fully for the story. And I think once he listened and okayed the story way back in the day, he's been fully on board, supportive, and he's actually, like, I think, in retrospect, I was thinking it's a big deal for maybe a mainstream actor to get hit by another actor, like, because we're living in a world where, all these heroes are untouchable or whatever. So it was a big deal, but he was fully on board. He fully wanted to get hit by Amitabh Bachchan, sir. It was awesome. He was like, sir, hold me tighter, like, hit me.
I was reading I was reading an interview today morning, and over there, I think the producer said that Prabhas said that Amit ji has to be treated like a star. If he is happy on the set, we all will be happy.
Right.
I think that also comes as a
for sure.
very secure move.
Yeah.
And given how the arc has evolved, will we get to see a lot more of intense element in Prabhas's character as the story moves forward?
Yeah, I don't know about intense element, but it's like the story. It's the story, and it has to unfold the way it does. And it feels like almost like it just began, because this is when the climax is when all these three people actually meet.
Yeah.
And so that's also probably when you really feel like, okay, now this is going to really get interesting. So,
when was it that you decided to make Kalki into a two-parter?
Early on, like, I think early in production, like maybe when not even halfway through.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you expanded it into a
two-parter. Yeah.
And you have the entire script of the second part.
We have the script of what it was as a single film. So yeah.
And I think 60% of the second part is already shot. So could you tell us something on what plans you have?
It's not 60%, I'd say. I'd say we shot about 25 to 30 days, maybe, of the second part. But there's a lot left to do, yeah.
And when do you plan on the second part? What?
It's still so much prep to do in terms of just, again, designing and action, and the whole thing starts again.
So it's a long journey.
It's a long journey to just prep before we start getting actors back on set.
But does success and appreciation put additional pressure on you to deliver? Because see, when Kalki came, of course, it's a big film, big budget. But still, when a sequel comes, there's a lot of expectation, because here it ends on a cliffhanger and people are expecting the world to go crazy. So does that add pressure on you, even more pressure on you as a director?
As of now, no. As of now, I feel that it's maybe the first part that felt like, we really had to deliver and we had to prove ourselves. And now that it's been accepted for the most part, I think the second part is going to be a lot calmer comparatively, because we're more secure in the world that we've created. Like, I don't have to spend for example, as long as I did in the first half of the film trying to establish the world again.
Yeah, it becomes a seamless narrative, because people
because
are
already invested, they've bought into this world. So yeah.
Correct. And the Mahabharata portions also have won a lot of appreciation.
Yeah.
How do you plan to expand into the Mahabharata side of the story?
Only where it's required to the story. Yeah.
Okay, you don't want to make a...
I don't want to make a Mahabharata right now. Yeah.
No. But if Mahabharata is ever made to the spectacle, who do you think is apt to direct a complex story like this?
I think Rajamouli sir wants to. I think he should. I think you need that passion and that love for it, because it's such a complicated story, which is so massive. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. I think Rajamouli sir making Mahabharata is a match made in heaven. That's something peak cinema again. Like,
for sure.
And last couple of questions. There is Sri Krishna's character in the film, which you have showed in the Mahabharata portion. So many conjectures around who could be Sri Krishna. You have any casting in mind, or you plan to keep it vague because it's such a...
The idea was to always keep him a silhouette and formless and, without an identity, because otherwise it just becomes a person or an actor.
Yeah.
The idea was always to keep him dark-skinned and silhouetted and, just like a mysterious figure. Yeah.
Correct. But that's how you will continue as well. There is no plan to reveal a face or anything. Because again, conspiracy theories have
No,
thrown
I
so
don't
many.
think so.
Yeah,
I think that would go against the point. Yeah.
correct. And one thing which I think every cine lover would want to see is a face-off between Amit ji and Kamal sir. You have set it up well for the sequel. How do you have any plans? I'm sure you must be having plans. Can you tell us something on that, because that's where the second part gets
Yeah, there'll be
interesting.
so many things like this in the second part, but I guess we can't talk about much right now. But yeah, there will be stuff like that for
Stuff
sure.
like that for sure.
Yeah.
And there will be new characters also introduced in the second part, or you will be now.
Yeah, there'll be some new characters also introduced. New world also. Yeah.
Wow, so fourth world now
Yeah,
you want
fourth
to.
world. The fourth world is opening.
Yeah, because
up.
you already have three, so.
Yeah. The fourth one is there.
There. Wow, I can't wait for it. I think hopefully we'll get to, the wait won't be too long for the second part.
Yeah.
And the last slide of the film says Kalki cinematic universe. So is your story going to end at the two parts, or are you making a universe with so many characters having backstories, like how it is done in the West?
I mean, we have a scope to do that, I feel, in this sort of a world.
Yeah.
We don't really have a roadmap for it, but we started like a animated series already.
Yeah.
So there are 2 more episodes of that animated series that are going to come out.
Yeah.
And for example, like an animated spin-off or a small series of Kyra could happen, like a small series of like the prequel, the Old Wars could happen. There's so many things that could take off from here, but we haven't really sat down and figured it out.
Okay, and before we sign off, if you have to describe your 4 leading pillars of Kalki, how would you? Prabhas, Amit ji, Deepika, and Kamal sir. I mean, the 4 superstars that you have.
Yeah, I mean, you probably described them. They are the 4 pillars. And I mean, Prabhas is like the most, he's like somebody you know that at the back of your mind that, you have like a support on, like if, like whatever we're doing and experimenting with is sort of because this man is this gigantic figure in, in the industry right now. So we can do this. Bachchan sir, just his energy and just an inspiration, or whatever he does is just an inspiration. If he's just sitting and he's asking for food, it's an inspiration. Like the way he orders his sandwich is an inspiration. Deepika is just like so effortless in whatever she does. Kamal sir is just like a textbook, I think, of cinema. Like just sitting with him, like you forget there's a shoot because he'll have so many anecdotes and so much wisdom about film and cinema in general. Like it's just his love for cinema is just, it just reminds you that, that's what you have to keep holding on to. It's just the love for cinema.
Love for cinema, right. Yeah. There's so much VFX involved in Kalki. And of course, even the actors and technicians and even you. The final output you got maybe a week or 10 days, the final cut with all the VFX, maybe 10 days, 15 days before the release. When you watched the first cut and when the star cast, the 4 pillars, like we said, watched, what was their first reaction like when they watched the world which they shot with green screen and sets come to life?
I mean, I think it was slowly opening up for them as they saw trailers, as they saw teasers, as they saw like stuff that we would send to other studios. Every time they saw something, people were like blown by the world and the quality of VFX. I think the producers and the whole team didn't skim or cut any corners as far as that was concerned, and it shows today.
Yes, that's absolutely. Every frame shows the vision and the spectacle. Perfect. On that note, thank you so much.
Thanks.
It was lovely speaking to you and can't wait for Kalki Part 2. I hope we get to see it in 2 years.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.